Hey, so last year's number 2 at NashCon sent me his list for next NashCon. That is Scott Gregory. Last time he brought his green Fallschirmjägers and did very well, came second, as I said. This time he is going with US Marines, he says. So let's go and see what he's building for NashCon, shall we? This is the Force. 16 order dice, 1250 points. 16 order dice is where you want to be. It's Iwo Jima, 1944, 1945. And he brings an inexperienced second lieutenant with an extra man, like that. That makes him survivable in predatory bombardment. That's always good. Veteran US Marine squads, mid to late war. Look, the price is up there, isn't it? 118 points. But what you get for that is you get 7 men, very, very good skirmishers, because they've got the automatic rifles, the BARs, so they've got range, and at the same time they have 3 submachine guns and 3 pistols, so they also have tough fighter and they're veteran, so they are a like perfect mix between a skirmish unit and a push unit. They can really push up. They can even fight close combat if they really have to, but most of the time you shouldn't. There's one guy with a rifle there. He's there to be a casualty, if and when they do take casualties, which of course will happen. So I really like these units. These are really good push units. Start out by having them deploy in your deployment zone and then move into your own half of the table. Stay there for most of the game until you need to push into the enemy's half. Perfect. They're really good for that. Deliver a lot of casualties, a lot of pins first. Yeah. And he's got 2 of those, which means that he's looking pretty on redundancy as well. Then he brings a regular engineer squad. Again, very good buy. For 100 points, you get 7 men, 8 men, one of them with a flamethrower, 8 men, perfect for a Dodge truck, which I'm guessing he'll have. So yeah, ideally I would want 1 more of these, but instead, Scott brings this unit of regulars. This is one that I don't really understand. 140 points. He's got 3 BARs, he's got pistols on those, he's got 1 submachine gun, 3 riflemen, and 3 infantry with shotguns. I don't understand the inclusion of shotguns. Not worth it in my book. Yeah, you do get assault, but this is not really an assault unit, is it? You have tough fighter on 7 men, and then you get 3 with just rifles. They're regulars. They're most likely just going to get shot to bits. But this is a unit I don't really understand. Had they been veterans like the others, yes, I would have understood. Because then you were going for an assault veteran, so leaning more into the assault than the skirmish. But this is a mix of everything and putting it into a regular. I think this is a point sink where you pour too many points into one unit that possibly is not going to stand up. And then finally, again, one of these good US Marine units here, 180 points, perfect. To support that, we get an inexperienced mortar team, lovely, lovely. A bazooka team, regular, always bring one of those if you can. They are really good, 24 inches, 5+ to penetrate, and it's a shaped charge, so it doesn't lose punching power over half distance. Really, really good. Get your bazookas a jeep if you can. That will increase their threat range, which is always good. And by the way, you need a jeep for the flamethrower as well. So 2 jeeps, ideally. You can get away with just 1, and then depending on what type of opponent you're facing, you'll have either the flamethrower or the bazooka in that 1 jeep. And by the way, since he brings the flamethrower here, that sort of makes up for the lacking second engineer unit up here. So he does have redundancy here as well. A sniper team, veteran. It doesn't need to be veteran for me. It makes it a little bit more survivable, but I've found that veteran, snipers, yeah, they are more survivable, but the sniper duel is what you want them to survive, and that doesn't happen that often. So most likely it's not worth it actually, and you can save the points and buy an extra Jeep. The US Marine War Dog team, I am not personally a fan, although I know people who are. Um, it is like a small extra unit of infantry, basically. They're veterans, they're pretty survivable. You get them with submachine guns. They won't do much. Maybe draw a little fire. A medium artillery piece, regular, with a spotter. Yep, look at that, 3-inch template. Boom. That'll hurt enemy infantry. And here comes the Jeep. This one, though, is an armored car version, so it's got a pin-mounted MMG. For 40 points, it's not worth taking veteran for me. You do that maybe to bring it in from the outflank, but it's just a single MMG. It's not that great. I would just cut down on the points, save them for something more worthwhile. An M4 Sherman 75mm. Yeah. This is a medium tank, and standard logic says the medium tanks are not worth it. But once you get into 1250, especially if you're in single platoon, I would definitely consider them, because what you're likely to see is one steward in the enemy army list, maybe one other armored car that might, deliver something 7 or 8 plus, but you're not very likely to see steward spam. Right, that's impossible to build in single platoons. So a single 9+ tank, if you have the points, and especially if you have a dice cap as well, might actually be worth it. And I think it may be here. Then we have a 1/4-ton truck, 1.5, not a quarter, 1.5-ton truck. I think you'd be better off cutting this down to 2 Dodge trucks, or at least one. You don't need it to transport 12 men. Instead, you would need 1 Dodge and 2 Jeeps, basically. 1 Dodge for the engineers, a Jeep for the flamethrower, and a Jeep for the bazooka. That would be just as good. And you can do that if you just cut this truck into bits, and then spend some of the points that you're saving off veteran on the armored car and the sniper team. So those would be my recommendations, I think. It is a nice list. It does have a lot of skirmish power backed up by a little bit of flamer power. It sort of lacks a little bit of long range darker, where the medium artillery piece is going to try and deliver that with the inexperienced medium mortar as well. Yeah. Would I change the medium artillery piece out for a multi-rocket launcher? I think I might. With your skirmishes, you want to be able to hit some of the enemy's units without being hit in return, so you deliver more pins per enemy unit, right? Like 2 pins, ideally 3 per enemy unit that you want to pin down. And then you want your assault teams, your the large unit of US Marines to come up and go into ambush. Sorry, not go into ambush, to go into assault, right? So I think perhaps a multi-rocket launcher might be more valuable for you in this regard. Also because your skirmishers are going to move out in front of your artillery piece anyway. So shooting indirectly is always going to happen, I think. Right, that was it for me. Thank you for the list, Scott, and good luck at NashCon. Cheers, everyone.